Feelings of inferiority is something everyone experiences throughout their lives. It's nasty and it weighs heavily on your shoulders and head, pushing you down until you can't keep moving forward. It brings you to a standstill, and then it makes you dig yourself slowly into a hole. Food is something that I love with every inch of my body and soul. For as long as I can remember, I have loved to eat. Every part of my family, on both sides, has at least one story from my childhood that involves me and food in some capacity. My mom sometimes tells me of the time I was just a baby, when she was feeding me baby food. We used to sit in the living room, and you couldn't hear anything except my eating noises, she called them. She worked up a sweat just trying to keep up with me, because if she didn't lift the spoon fast enough, I would start to whine. And apparently there was just one thing that made me actually take a break, and that was when some specific Mariah Carey song came on the radio. My earliest memory of my dad is when we were home alone. I might have been maybe 3 or 4 years old. He was cooking pancakes, and he was flipping them using only the pan. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So he kept trying to get more flips each time. It ended up with him flipping a pancake so high, it did the most cartoonish thing. It hit the ceiling and got stuck for a moment. So me and my dad looked at each other, and then he told me, "Don't tell your mom." And then I ate more than half of the pancakes. Food has always been important to me. I love eating. Just the sheer joy and fulfillment I feel when I eat something I think tastes good. I can't put it into words. I love the sounds of the sizzle meat makes when it hits a hot pan for the first time. I love the smell that happens when spices get bloomed or when bread is baked. I love the depth soups have when time and care has been given to them. I love food, and I love eating. This love of eating is what eventually made me consider a career in professional kitchens, because if I learn how to make good food, I can always eat good food. So when I was in my early 20s, I joined a culinary school in Denmark and found an apprenticeship at a quite well-known gourmet restaurant. The life of an apprentice hit me like a truck. Doors to different new worlds opened to me. Doors to worlds I never even thought could exist. The hours were long, the work was difficult. The most difficult I have ever done in my life. But despite the hard times, despite the days where I got yelled at all day, the days where I was told I was the reason for all complaints, I still loved every single second of it. You are only as good as the amount of hours you put into the kitchen. This was the slogan of my head chef, my mentor and role model. This man was, in my mind, the greatest chef in the country. He was an apprentice at one of the most prestigious kitchens in the country, then went on to work at Mimo in Norway, and then became a chef de partie at Noma in Copenhagen, a true chef. He taught me everything I knew about cooking, and he is what I inspired to become. I wanted to follow him, keep learning from him, and eventually help pioneer the culinary world with him. I was going to become a chef, just like him. Not a cook, a chef. But the longer you keep on working on something, the more you notice what you're missing. You start to notice all the talent around you, how quickly the other newcomers are picking things up and learning. The creativeness of the people who work alongside you, not to mention at other restaurants, feels overbearing and diminishes your own. The year after I graduated, I was overcome by pressure and stress. I had this voice in my head that kept telling me that even after all the hard work I had done, all the hours I put into the kitchen, after all the things I had strived for and learned, is this really all you can do? Is this it? You will never become a chef. It's a horrible feeling. Feeling as if you are subpar at something that you not only love, but have put your literal blood, sweat, and tears into. I didn't feel the same joy cooking as I did before, so I stopped for a while. I went to therapy. Slowly, I started to become strong enough to start picking myself up again and try to heal. I never would have been able to do it without the support from the people closest to me. But eventually, I started playing around in the kitchen again. I started to try things out. A different preparation of something in a dish, or twisting it with some sort of different cultural dynamic. And just like that, I started to really enjoy myself cooking again. I started to love eating my own food again, and I just loved making it. But then, it happened again. During COVID, people had more time at home, resulting in an increased interest in cooking. Amongst many other things. Chefs from all over the world who were stuck at home, and some other really talented home cooks started making videos and sharing them online. People like Joshua Wiseman, Kenji Lopez, and Andrew Rea started popping up on everyone's YouTube feed, including mine. Watching these chefs and home cooks cook at home was incredible. Joshua, despite being so young, was so talented and driven. His videos were an eye-opener to me. He showed me that what we do at work, we could just do at home as well. I could see at first where he excelled, but I could also see where I was better than him. Kenji, with his immense experience and impressive career, showed me the certainty of experience. He showed me that if you are a seasoned veteran, you have massive stability in your product. No wasted movements, no pressure, no stress. It was frankly like watching an artist, and I noticed that I do not have that experience, that stability. Andrew Raya, also known as Babish on YouTube, shocked me with his humorous and informative videos. The fact that this man was not a trained chef was honestly a little baffling to me. He had every skill needed to be one. He showed me that even if you're not in the culinary world, like chefs are, you weren't working in kitchens, you could still achieve and learn the exact same things that we did. These amazing chefs, amongst many more on the internet, surfaced, and once again, I felt myself hitting that wall. I tried imitating them, remaking the recipes at home on my own, but it just felt hollow. The spark, the joy of cooking I'd worked so hard to regain, slowly faded from me again. It didn't help seeing that Joshua Wiseman quickly became much better than me in every capacity, becoming one of the most well-known chefs in the world. I didn't want to cook for months after that. The sizzle didn't excite me anymore. The smells felt dull and flat. Then, my mom came to visit me in Denmark. I had not seen her face to face for around 3 years at that point. She stayed with us for 2 to 3 weeks, and during that time she insisted we went out to eat or ordered in every day, and she was paying. She knew I would rather not cook. Then, during her last couple of days with us, out of the blue, she asked me if I could show her how to make pasta. She had seen it on some cooking show and had wanted to ask me to make it for her and show her how. But she knew my relationship to cooking was strained at the moment, and she didn't want to be a bother. This made me laugh. I love my mom with all my heart, and she was afraid to ask me to make her pasta. During my childhood, my mom did her best to learn to cook because she knew that I loved food. Even when her arthritis was so bad she could barely lift a pan or a knife, she cooked for me. So I hugged her and immediately started preparing to show her how to make pasta. I explained every step in the process, the do's and don'ts, and I carefully made pasta with my mother. As we kept going, I noticed that as she stood there, videotaping everything and smiling, I was enjoying myself. For the first time in months, it was fun to cook again. It was just a very simple pasta dish. Some spinach, tuna, parmigiano, and tomatoes. But it tasted amazing. I loved it, and I ended up finishing the whole serving bowl. Now, when I see videos of Gordon Ramsay, Joshua Wiseman, Kenji, or Babish, I enjoy myself. Feelings of inferiority are always going to be there in some form. I understood what my role is, and I like it. I am not as good as those chefs. They, along with all the amazing chefs that have stars in Michelin, are the pioneers of the culinary world, and I look at them with pride as they make new strides and pave new paths. I'm not a chef. Chef is not a title I just give to anyone in a restaurant. That is a bit made popular by the TV show The Bear. Chef is something I call the ones I believe will contribute to the cultivation of knowledge in this field. A cook is something smaller than a chef, but no less important. A cook is the foundation. You can't become a chef without having been a cook, and chefs cannot do their jobs without a good, loyal team of cooks. Cooks give life to the visions of chefs. Cooks are the backbones of restaurants. Cooks are the ones who make the food we all love. I'm not a chef, I'm a cook, and I truly love that.